Good morning, I'm Morgan Donner, and for today's video I would like to recreate this portrait. Several people have sent her to me over the past few months. She's a very lovely young German woman named Christina Antonietta Cornelia Vetterlein. Hopefully I got that all right. I think I'm just going to call her Cornelia for the video to shorten that a bit, which I'm probably pronouncing every one of her names wrong, and if so, I'm sorry. Fortunately, I don't think she's gonna mind too much since she was born back in the early 1800s. This portrait of her was painted in 1828 by a fellow named Joseph Carl Seeler, I believe. She would have been about 16, 17. Different sites differ as to what her date of birth was, so who knows? Anyways, a lot of you felt that she looked like me, which is very cool, and I love the idea of recreating her picture. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any 1830s dresses, but that's okay, because she's going for a very interesting sort of pseudo-Renaissance medieval thing, which is very fun. Just all the same, I still don't have a dress that looks quite like hers, despite having a ton of red dresses. I decided I would go ahead and kind of recreate the look using a dress I already have. I don't really feel like making a fantasy medieval 1830s dress right this moment, although that gentleman Jack. So anyways, I've tossed on one of my red coat hardies, and we're just gonna call that good enough. It even has like red and gold, which kind of looks like her thing, sort of. I also have earrings with 3 pearl drops. Again, not quite the same, but we're gonna call it good. The thing that I'm really interested and excited to try out is her hair. She has this cool braid on either side of her head that curls and like it connects back here somehow. She also has kind of a head necklace, which Frock Flicks just loves. So let's go ahead and get started with that fun hairstyle. First off, we need to go ahead and center part. So let's get that tackled. And then we'll get that neatened up really quick here. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get this half out of the way a bit. It's summer and it's very hot right now. All right, so that half of the hair is out of the way for right now so that we can focus on this half. So the braid that she has on the sides of her face, it looks to me like it's not a standard 3-strand braid. It looks like there's that kind of telltale extra bump in the middle of the braid that makes me think of a 4-strand, so that's what I'm gonna go for here. So to do a 4-strand braid, we're just going to divide the hair in half and then each of those halves in half to get 4 strands. For the 4-strand braid here, we are going to take each of our pairs and we're going to, I'm kind of holding them awkwardly, we're going to flip them the same way. Doesn't really matter whether you go left over right or right over left. Same Z's in the end. But then you're going to go the opposite way, exchanging the 2 middle pieces. There we go, and twist and exchange the 2 in the middle. So do that a couple of times. And then I think I'm actually going to stop pretty soon here, maybe after a couple of more. So I actually wear my hair in braids every day. And so I just know from knowing my hair that I am going to need just a little bit more length than usual in order to have it so that the braid wraps up over the ear, around the back of the head, and then on the other side it's going to come and be visible right here in between the ear and the big braid. So I know I'm gonna need just a little bit more length than I have, and I have false hair for just such occasions. There we go. So this is the cheap stuff from my local beauty supply. It's really great. What I try to do is match the hair color on top of my head instead of at the ends, because down here naturally gets kind of lighter over time. So I figure if I'm gonna add hair, I should add stuff that will kind of bring this back to the color of this. We'll see. Anyways, so I'm going to take my hair and just sort of shove it in there as best I can, as neatly as I can, and kind of just hope that it's not too visible in the end. Let's see. I mean, the braid like this is eventually going to go this way. So if I'm going to put it somewhere, I should put it so that it's, if it's going to be visible, I should try to make it so that the entry point is visible back here. Sorry that I'm making it so awkward for you guys. Okay, I'm just going to kind of pick a pair to add them to. Okay, I think that works. Let's see. Okay, so I'm at the point where I need to switch the two middle ones, and then flip, switch the middle, and flip. So a normal 3-strand braid would not have this extra bump in the middle, which seems to be visible in her portrait, so I'm really hoping that this is the right way to go. So remember how I only added the false hair to 2 of my 4 strands? That means that I have 2 strands here that are starting to run out of hair, and then I've got the 2 that still have quite a ways to go. So I'm going to take some of the hair, the dark false hair, and just kind of add it to the short braids as we go. I've gotten a little out of frame here, but I'm keeping on with that 4-strand braid. Hopefully those of you that regularly do the normal 3-strand braids kind of know what I mean. When you get one strand that's getting just a little too thin, a little too short, so you steal a little bit of hair from one of the other strands. That's what I'm doing here. Braid down as far as you can, and then we'll rubber band that end off. I've been experimenting lately with going as rubber bandless as I can for my historical and modern styles, mostly for practice. But because rubber bands weren't a thing, and for years and years I've been just kind of lazy about it and didn't want to figure it out. Actually surprisingly good at binding off the end of your braid. I can't with this one because the style unfortunately does show all dark, and I don't have any dark colored ribbons. I usually just use white. In order to get the right look, I'm gonna go ahead and just rubber band it off today. But obviously they wouldn't have, because rubber bands weren't a thing. Let's go ahead and get that second braid done. Take out the earring again just because it does get in the way. All right, hello again. So my camera died and I'm not quite 100% sure where I was, but you know what? Forget whatever I said earlier, especially regarding adding the false hair. My hair had gotten really kind of fuzzy and messy while I was waiting for my camera to charge, and I decided to go ahead and re-braid it, and I tried something else for when adding hair into mine, the false hair into mine. So I want to show you guys how I did it the second time around with what I feel were much better results. Also, try wetting your hair before doing this. Just that made such a cleaner braid for me. Maybe you'll have the same results. So we're going to again divide it into 4 strands. There we go. I think we're in 4, and just like before, twist and then exchange. I'm also being a little bit more particular this time about pulling tight as I go. Also, it's been a long time since I've done 4-strand braids, so I think that that first try that you saw earlier was kind of getting my hands back into remembering how to do it. So it's good to go ahead and just restart that over again. Okay, and I'd say let's actually go ahead and start it about here. Alright, so we have our 2 pairs of strands, and normally now would be the time where you would twist and then exchange, right? I'm gonna go ahead and hold on to them for just a second. I think I might just let go of those and I'll pick them back up in a minute. So what I've done is, instead of trying to add in my little switch of false hair all in at once, I divided it in half, and what we're gonna do is add one half to this pair and add the other half to the other pair. It seemed to work a lot better when I tried it out. So here's that half. So I've added that on top of that first pair. And then for this second pair, I want to do the same thing. Okay, so this would get twisted, and I'm gonna kind of pull it taut away from each other. This one would also get twisted this way. Yep, kind of pull it taut. It's gonna try and slip away, but hold on. And then as soon as we exchange those 2 middle ones, they'll start to lock in place and not be so wily anymore. I'm not entirely sure that any of that is terribly clear for you guys, but hopefully it's maybe a little bit better than the last time I explained it. Okay, so I have my 2 braids in place. I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera here, but I think you can see that my hair ends about here. So the faux hair gives me an extra 5 to 6 inches, which this should be plenty, I think, for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get her pinned up. Oh, you know what? Before I pin this, let's go ahead and get the earrings back on. I think it might be a little bit difficult once there's braids in front of my ears. So here we go. Okay, so get this pinned up here somehow. I'm gonna try to keep my ear in, but I think my braid, like even up here, which should just be me, I think it might be a little bit thicker than hers in the picture, so I might not be able to keep my ear visible. We'll see what I can do. I think that's about right, so let's start tossing pins in. As I do in just about all of my Get Ready With Me type videos, I'm going to be using these U-shaped wire pins. I just get them from places like Sally Beauty Supply or, you know, other hair supply type stores. They do pretty darn well for me. I think that's about right. I want to make sure that the top of the braid isn't level with my head. It should be a little bit below, which it is. And this, I don't want to hang so low that it completely obscures the earrings. So I think this is a good spot right now. I think we're at a good start. Okay, so I've got these little end bits on my braids, which are going to go over my ear, and then I think I could just kind of tuck the ends in against the big braid. Okay. That's feeling about right, I think. Oh, you know, I almost forgot one of the most important parts, the head necklace. So this is just a string of pearls. It's literally on a string. There's not a necklace just yet. And then I borrowed a drop style pearl from one of my old earrings that I only had one left. So this is a good purpose for that as any. So I think I want the drop to be a little bit on my head, but the strand of pearls to mostly be on hair. And then I think I'm just gonna hide the ends in my braid. Pin her in place. Okay, I think I got the first end. Just gotta get the second end. Okay, that was surprisingly painless. I feel like my double is off center, but I think it's okay. Okay, so I still have the ends a little bit visible, I think, back here, especially if you're looking at the top of my head, but I think that if you're looking from the side, it's not too bad, but I'll toss a couple more pins in just in case. Okay. And I think relatively sturdy. I don't know that I would want to go for a jog and count on it to stay in place, but for light walking about, socializing, posing for paintings, I think this will do. I think I've just about got the hair and head necklace part covered. In the portrait, she's wearing this really interesting necklace, which I haven't been able to get any really great close-ups of, but as best as I can tell, I think it's actually several rows of seashells, which is interesting. It's an interesting call to go for. So, you know, and it's funny, I feel like I used to have some seashell necklaces, but I don't know if I do anymore. Let's go hunt my jewelry box, see what I can find. Be right back. Unfortunately, no go on any shell necklaces, so I have a couple of others that I'm going to layer on just to at least have some sort of necklace effect going on, even if it's not quite the same as the original. Gotta work with what you have, right? Alright, so I think this is the finished look. At least as best as I'm going to do for right now. Maybe someday I'll reattempt it if I have another dress that's a little bit more similar to her portrait, but I think this isn't bad, and it's kind of interesting as a mental exercise. I'm doing a late 14th century look based on an 1830s portrait, which is in the style of vaguely Renaissance, so probably early 1500s-ish is what they're aiming for. But you know, it's fun. So let me go ahead and show you the whole thing. Hopefully I don't have any pins visible back here. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now is try and take a good old side-by-side comparison, same pose as she's in sort of picture, and I'll share it with you guys, and then I think I will be off and ready to go to my event for the day. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching my bit of silliness. If you've tried to recreate the look of a portrait, please share. I love seeing those. It's really, really cool, especially when you have that like side-by-side comparison together. So good. So if you aren't already, please do follow me on Instagram at Morgan Donner and share with me your side-by-side comparisons of your own. You guys have a good day. Bye.